Hello children, how are you all? I hope you are fine and safe. I am Dakshayani, handling biology from Bharadasnar Metric Higher Secondary School, Arakonam. Children, today we are going to see 12th standard first lesson in botany. What is the name of the chapter, children? Asexual and sexual reproduction in the plants. We have discussed about the asexual methods of reproduction, and today we are going to discuss about the sexual. In sexual, we have studied about the development of the male gametophyte, that is a microsporogenesis, and now we are going to see about the female part, that is a gynoecium. So which is a female part of the flower, children? The female part of the flower is a gynoecium. So this is a part, this is a flower, and this refers to the female part of the flower, right? So the uppermost part of the plant of the flower is a stigma, right? And the stalk of the gynoecium is a style, and the basal, the swollen portion of the gynoecium, we call it as a ovary. So this is the structure of the gynoecium, children. So what is the first part? The tip portion, we call it as stigma. Then the stalk that connects stigma to the ovary, we call it as a style. And stigma, it is a landing place for the pollen grains. When the pollen grains, that is a male gametes, reaches the female part, first they land on the stigma. After reaching the stigma only, they produce a pollen tube and get fertilized to the ovule, right? So the stalk which connects the both, we call it as a style, and the swollen portion we call it as a ovary. Swollen portion we call it as a ovary. And so ovary is a sac like structure which encloses the ovules. Just you see here, children, the ovules are present inside the ovary, and based on the number of locules we can say it as unilocular or multilocular. For example, in paddy, it has only one seed is present, right? So it is said to be unilocular. What we say? Unilocular. And then next, for the multilocular, best example, papaya. Yes, if you cut a papaya fruit, you can see many seeds inside, right? So what is that? Multilocular. Can you give some other example, children? Watermelon, cucumber, they all come under the multilocules. So based on their locules present, it is said to be unilocular or multilocular. Here you see, here it has two locules, right? So bilocular, trilocular, multilocular. More than one, more than two, we say it as a multilocular. So this is about the structure of the gynoecium. And there is a other name for the gynoecium, children. The gynoecium, two or more pistils form the gynoecium, that is a female part of the flower, right? And next we are going to see about the structure of the ovule. So now we are going to study about the structure of the ovule. This is the structure of the inverted ovule, right? So this is a ovule which is present inside the ovary, and the ovary, the other name of the ovule is a megasporangium. What we say, children? Megasporangium. Megasporangium. So what is the other name of the ovule? Megasporangium. And now we are going to study about the structure. First, the outermost structure, these structures, right? These structures, the outermost structures, we call it as integuments. What we say? Integuments. So the ovules, the outermost structure, we call it as integuments. So based on their position, we can classify them as outer integument and inner integument. The integument which is present on the outermost structure, we call it as outer, inner as a inner integument. So what is the outermost covering? Integument. And here we can see this is a placenta which is attached to the ovary. So the stalk which connects the placenta and the ovule. We call it as funiculus. What is this structure, children? Funiculus. Funicle. Funicle. So the stalk of the ovule is a funicle which connects placenta and the ovule. And next we can see the depression, the place where the funicle and the integuments meet. This place we call it as a hilum or hilus. What we say? Hilus. So the depression which the funicle makes with the ovule, we call it as a hilus. And next here the funicle forms a ridge-like structures while covering the ovule. It forms a ridge-like structure is called as a raphe. What we call? It is a raphe. And this is the, since the ovule is inverted, this is the basal portion of the ovule and this is the top portion of the ovule. So what is the basal portion, children? Chalasa. Since chalasa is present, it is said to be the chalasal end. And here, right, the integuments cover the nucellus fully except at some point, except here in the micropyle. Why there should be the gap, children? Because through this only the pollen tube enters at the time of fertilization into the ovule. So the gap which is present in the upper portion of the ovule, we call it as micropyle. Since micropyle is present here, we say this as a micropylar end. So which is a chalasal end? Up here, right? This is a basal portion. Which is the uppermost part? Micropylar end. And here the ovule has the mass of parenchyma cells called as the nucellus. This one we call it as a embryo sac, and here the cells which is present inside we call it as a nucellus. What is this, children? It is a nucellus, right? This embryo sac, it bears the egg cell, synergids and the antipodals, right? So we will see in the next slides how the development of the ovule takes place, how the synergids are formed and how the antipodals are formed. So this is an important 5-mark question, children. Explain, describe the structure of ovule with a neat diagram. So it comes very often and the parts may be asked in the NEET exams too. So go through this structure very well and mark down the parts. So we discussed about the integuments, funicle, hilus, nucellus, chalasa and micropyle, right? And based on this we are going to study about that some types of ovules, right? So based on the position of the ovules, we can say it as a tenunucellate and crassinucellate. It's an important 2-mark question, children. Differentiate between the tenunucellate and the crassinucellate. Here we can say here the sporogenous cell is hypodermal. What do you mean by hypodermal? The outermost covering is a epidermis, right? So below the epidermis what is present? Hypodermis, and below the hypodermis subhypodermis. So the main difference between the tenunucellate and the crassinucellate is that here tenunucellate, the sporogenous cell is hypodermal. In the crassinucellate, the sporogenous cell is subhypodermal. What do you mean by sporogenous cell, children? At the time of development of the ovule, right? At the time of development of the ovule, some cells, hypodermal cells, develop into the sporogenous cells and the layers. So the sporogenous cell we call it as a megaspore mother cell. So and here in the tenunucellate type, the ovules have very small nucellus. The ovules have very small nucellus. But in the case of crassinucellate, the ovules have large nucellus. So this is the main difference between the tenunucellate and crassinucellate. And now we are going to see what is a hypostase and the epistase. What do you mean by hypo? Hypo means below. Epi means above. So when the ovule is like this, right? For example, how will be the ovule, children? Like this, and the integuments are like this, right? Integuments like this, right? This is a micropyle. And Hypostasis, the group of cells found at the base of the ovule between the chalaza and the embryo sac. This is the chalazae end. So, some group of cells will be present here. Such cells we call it as hypostasis. Below it is present below between the nucellus and the chalaza, we call it as hypostasis. And some cells are present between the micropyle and the nucellus. In this area, we call them as epistasis. So, it is an important 2 mark question, children. Differentiate tuninucellate and crassinucellate and differentiate between the epistasis and the hypostasis. So, go through this well. And now, we are going to see based on the position and orientation of the ovule, right? Based on the position and orientation, how it is originated, we can classify the ovules into 6 types. So, now let us see with the example, right? First one, orthotrophous. What do you mean by orthotrophous? You look at this picture, children. What is this? Micropyle, nucellus, chalaza are in the same vertical line. So, if the ovule is like this, we say this as a orthotrophous. And the example of orthotrophous is Piperaceae, pepper family, it is a pepper plant. The ovules of this are arranged like this, orthotrophous. Okay, and next type we are going to study about the anatrophous. If the ovule is inverted, that is the micropyle, hilum and funicle are close to each other, we say this type of ovule as anatrophous. And the example of anatrophous is most of the monocots and dicots. Majority of the angiosperms, they possess this type of ovule. The example for this is I have given the example hibiscus, but mostly all of the dicot, mango, all the dicot plants comes under the anatrophous. So, what are the 2 types we discussed, children? Orthotrophous and anatrophous. When all are in the same vertical line, orthotrophous. When the ovule is inverted, anatrophous, right? And next we are going to study about the another 2 types, that is hemianotrophous and campylotrophous, right? What is hemianotrophous? Here you can see this is a funicle, right? The ovule is at right angles, right? The funicle is like this and the ovule is arranged like this. So, if it is arranged in a right angles, we say this as a hemianotrophous. The example for this is a Primulaceae, primrose plant, right? So, belong to the family Primulaceae, evening primrose we say. And next, 4th type is campylotrophous. What do you mean by campylotrophous? Here, the nucellus is bent, nucellus is curved, and you can see the micropyle, right? Chalaza and funicle are adjacent to each other or nearby. So, here the ovule look what shape? Bean shaped. So, this type of ovule is said to be campylotrophous, and the example of campylotrophous is Leguminaceae, all the legumes. What is a legume, children? Pattani vagaigal, right? All beans, peas, everything comes under the Leguminaceae. So, what are the 4 things we discussed? Orthotrophous, anatrophous, hemianotrophous and campylotrophous. And the next 2 types is amphitrophous and circinotrophous. What is this amphitrophous? You see this, children, the nucellus is in the shape of horseshoe magnet. Horseshoe magnet you all know, right? It will be in the inverted U shape like this. So, it is said to be inverted U shape in the sense, how it will be? Horseshoe, in the physics you might have studied. It will be like this horseshoe magnet, right? So, it will be, the ovule will be in this shape. It is said to be amphitrophous. The example of the amphitrophous plant is the Alismataceae family. It is a water plantain. Water plantain, you can see near the water bodies. This, it's look like a banana leaf. So, we name it as a water plantain. Which family? What is a family, children? Sanjay, just answer my question. What is a family of water plantains? Give an example for amphianotrophous. Yes, very good. Alismataceae, just underline in your book, children. And last type we are going to discuss as a circinotrophous, right? Here you see the ovule is different now, children. How it is? The funicle surrounds the ovule, right? You see here, this is a funicle, it surrounds the ovule. So this we say in this type of arrangement we say it as a Circinotrophus. The funicle is very long and surrounds the ovule. This type of ovule is present in the Cactaceae family. Cactaceae, chapati kalli. All this, even this dragon fruits, everything comes under the family Cactaceae. So in this session, what are the topics we discussed, children? We discussed about the structure of the gynoecium, structure of the ovule, and based on this position of the ovule, how the ovules are classified. And in some ovules, integuments, right, the outermost covering functions, they provide nutrition to the nucellus. Such integuments we call it as integumentary tapetum. What we say? In some ovule, integuments function, supply nutrition to this nucellus. In such type we call them as integumentary tapetum. What we say? Integumentary tapetum. So with this the session comes to an end, children. Go through this topic well. With this we have attached the study material, assessment, need based questions along with this. Go through it. So make sure how far you understood the topic. Practice a diagram, children. It's a very important question. Structure of ovule, types of ovule, right? So have a nice day, children. Be safe.
நளினி அமிர்தாவோட ஃபாதர் ப்ரீகேஜிலேருந்து 8th ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் படிக்கிறாங்க. இப்போ அது 5:30 to 6:30 வந்து கிரவுண்ட் ரன்னிங் ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணிவிட்டு பாடி எக்ஸசைஸ் பண்ணிவிட்டு அப்படியே ஸ்கூல் அட்டன் பண்ணிவிட்டு மத்தியானம் மேலே மதர் தெரேசா அகாடமிலையும் ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணுறாங்க. மெட்ராஸில் எம்இஎம்லும் ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணுறாங்க. நேஷனல் லெவலில் வந்து கோல்டு அடிச்சிருக்காங்க.
ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணுறதுக்கும் அதே நேரத்தில் ஸ்டடீஸுக்கும் வந்து அவங்க எந்த ஒரு பிரச்சனையும் இல்லாமல் இந்த விஷயத்தை